Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm doing a book haul. So this book haul is basically all the books that I got for my birthday, as well as some books that I found thrifting, just regular thrifting, not when I went to McKay's. I already have a video up for that. I'll link it in case you didn't watch it, but for my birthday, we went to McKay's used bookstore in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was amazing, and I got lots of great books. So these books are books that I have found thrifting other than that. And speaking of bookish gifts, my older sister bought me this amazing Edgar Allan Poe shirt for my birthday because she knows what I like. So I had to share that too because it's just fun. All right, so I'm going to start with the books that I was gifted so generously. You guys are so wonderful. I had so many of you reach out to me and wish me happy birthday, and quite a few of you bought me gifts as well, which was just so kind. I can't even believe how wonderful and generous the booktube community is. So the first book I have here I actually didn't receive for my birthday. It was for something else. Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes sent me a book to thank me for hosting Summer Book Bingo, which was just so unexpected and so sweet. It was such a surprise and it made my day. So she got me Everything Sad is Untrue by Daniel Nayeri, and someone, I can't remember who, if it was you, let me know in the comments, recommended this book to me. This is a book, I think, about refugee, maybe? Yes, it's about a boy who fled with his mother and sister from Iran in the middle of the night, and then just their story. And so I've been wanting to read this one ever since someone recommended it to me earlier this year, so I'm super excited to have this one. Next up, my sweet friend Dia sent me a package with some books and some tea in them, and yeah, it was just such a fun little package. So the first book she sent me is one that she had talked about, and it's 100 Shadows by Hwang Jung-gun. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. This is just a short little book. I think it's like a little over 100 pages, and it's set in South Korea. And so she was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. She said it's a little strange. I don't think she loved this book, but she said she'd send it to me after she was done with it. So I was really excited. I'm kind of wondering why there's a Russian nesting doll on the cover of a book that's set in South Korea. Not really sure. I'll keep you posted. She also sent me another book that she was reading, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never even heard of that by a beloved author. And that's Magic for Marigold by Ellen Montgomery. And look at this cute vintage cover. I love it so much. I love all the old Ellen Montgomery editions. They're very nostalgic for me, but I'd never even heard of Magic for Marigold. So when she was reading it, I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then she sent it to me because she's the sweetest. So I'm really excited to get to this one. My daughter has already nabbed it and started it. Next up, I got a couple of books from Gloria over at Gloria Z. Thompson. And the first book that she sent me is A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus. I have heard nothing but love for this middle grade historical fiction. It is set during World War II, I think during the Blitz on London, and these three siblings are sent to live with someone in the country to be safe, which reminds me of the beginning of the Chronicles of Narnia. So I've heard it's very bookish. I've heard a lot of people read this one and absolutely love it. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one because I think I'm absolutely going to adore it. Gloria also sent me, very appropriately, The Keeper of Bees by Jean Stratton Porter. So Gloria's family actually has a bee farm, and is that the right word? A bee farm? I don't know if it is. And they sell honey and stuff. So it was really funny that she's like, I had to get this book for you because it had bees in the title. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I love Jean Stratton Porter. I love A Girl with a Limberlost, which actually I think that's the only book of hers that I've read, but I've read it twice and I really love it. And I love her nature descriptions. So I have no clue what this one is about, but Shalise from Read Another Chapter absolutely loves this book, and she was the first person I heard talk about it. So I'm really looking forward to reading another Jean Stratton Porter. My sweet friend Jessica, who has an amazing bookstagram, also sent me a couple of books. The first one that she sent me was Cold-Blooded Myrtle by Elizabeth C. Bunce. This is in the Myrtle Hardcastle Mystery Series. It's a middle grade, as you might be able to tell by the cover. And we have read the second book together. I read the first book, and she ended up reading the first book like the same month with someone else. And then we read book 2 together. And so we're gonna read book 3 together in December. And she bought it for me, which was so very sweet. She also sent me a book that has been on my wish list for forever, and I have wanted so much for such a long time, and I have not found it anywhere other than, I mean, I could have bought it new, obviously, but I've never found it on any used book sale website or any thrift store, so I was so excited that she got it for me. And that's The Posthumous Memoirs of Bras Cubas by Machado de Assis. Maybe this is Spanish, I'm pretty sure. I think it's Spanish or South American, but I've heard really interesting things about this book. Like, it's written by someone who is dead about his life and reflections on his life, but I've heard that it's actually really, really funny. So I am really looking forward to reading this one. It really intrigues me. And lastly, my sweet friend Joanna, my K-drama buddy, we watch K-dramas together. She sent me this beautiful word cloud edition of the Romantic Poets, and the poets are there. It's actually like on the stems. I don't know if you can see it in the video. So it has poems from Byron, Coleridge, Keats, Blake, Wordsworth, and Shelley. And I've really been wanting to get into more poetry, particularly the Romantic period. I've read quite a bit of Wordsworth and Blake, but not so much the others. I've really wanted to read Byron and Shelley and really haven't yet. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's got this beautiful, beautiful quote on the back. It says, it's from William Wordsworth. It says, "Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower, we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind." So I can't wait to read some poems from this collection. All right, let's move on to some thrifted books. You can probably see stacks here, here, here. I have shared some of these on Instagram, so some of these will not come as a surprise to you if you follow me on there, but I hadn't talked about them at all on my channel, so I'm including them in this video. Oh, actually I lied. The first book on this stack is actually an ARC that was sent to me by Owl's Nest Publishing. They earlier this year published a book, Son of the Deep, which was a really fun, like gender bent Little Mermaid retelling. And they had a sci-fi come out this fall. Well, actually, I don't think it's been published yet. And that's Orion and the Starborn. This is by the same author, K.B. Hoyle, that wrote Son of the Deep. And I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've been trying to be responsible and finish up my reading, and all I want to do is read this book. So it's gonna get read really soon, even though I forgot to put it on my TBR for October. It's gonna get read really soon. Okay, now all the rest of these are actually thrifted books. So I found Momo by Michael Ende. Ende? He wrote The Neverending Story, and he also wrote Momo, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that this is Noah from Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse, like one of his like favorite childhood books. And so I'm really intrigued by it because it's about a girl and it's fantasy. It's about like these, I don't know, these men who are trying to like take time and put it in a time-saving bank. And yeah, just trying to get people to rush through life and save time for later, which sounds like it would have a really intriguing message behind it as well. So I found this book for like 10 cents. I'm thrilled. I also found The Power and the Glory by Graham Greene. And I remember watching a video that Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space did reviewing this. So anything that Christy likes, I'm immediately like, I probably want to read that, because our reading tastes cross about, I would say, 97% of the time. There's a couple of off books that I love and she doesn't, and vice versa, but overall we tend to enjoy a lot of the same books, so I picked this one up. I also found Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I think a lot of people read this in either high school or college. I did not, so I'm really looking forward to this because it's kind of a voice from a different area of the world, and I'm always looking to diversify that. I don't know what country this takes place in. I was hoping it said on the back, but it just says that it's African. So my husband's read this book and read it in college and enjoyed it. I also found Cormac McCarthy's The Road. This book was picked up only because Penny absolutely loves it from Cat Lady Book Nook. She has mentioned loving Cormac McCarthy, and she mentioned this book semi-recently, I think multiple times, and so I decided to pick it up. It was also 10 cents, so I'm like, yeah, I will give that a try. I also got a decent amount of Bradbury books at a library book sale. Paid 10 cents for these also. So I got The Martian Chronicles and also The Illustrated Man. And I think that these are all short story collections. And I think that all the short stories in this might be related, but I think that this one, maybe they're not. But I'm not totally sure. And then I also found at a little free library, Something Wicked This Way Comes. And I know that this would be a perfect book to read in October, but I don't know if I will get to it just because I have big Victober plans. But I hope to read it at some point. I've only read one short story by Ray Bradbury, but I loved it and I really loved his writing style. So maybe I'll read this some point soon. I am a little concerned that it's going to be too creepy for me because I am not a creepy vibes kind of a person. I like gothic vibes, but not like actual scary stuff. So if you've read this, is this really scary or is it just like kind of a little creepy? I realize that that's subjective, but I'd be interested to hear if you've read this, if it was too scary. Also at a library book sale, I got a ton of Isaac Asimov, and I've read nothing by him, but I've wanted to read things by him for a while. And since these were 10 cents each, I decided to just pick them all up because I'm like, if I like one of them, I'm going to be really mad that I didn't pick up the other ones. So the one that I was going to get that I've wanted to read is the Foundations trilogy because I've heard great things about Foundation by Isaac Asimov. So I definitely wanted to pick up this one, but then there's all these other ones. There's, let's see, The Complete Robots, The Robots of the Dawn, and Robots in Empire. There's a theme here. There's a lot of robots happening. It's clearly sci-fi. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like Isaac Asimov or not, but because I've wanted to try Foundations, I decided to pick that one up, and then I'm like, well, I might love the other ones. And since I paid 40 cents for all three of them, I won't feel bad if I don't like any of them. So the last stack of books that I have here are just randomly thrifted books that I've just picked up one or two here or there randomly over the course of the past like maybe 2 months or so. So the first one, I'm so excited that I found this even though the cover is torn, and that's Against the Odds by Ellen Montgomery. This is a short story collection by her. I haven't read any of her short stories to be honest, but this has quite a few in it. Nice little list there for you. And I was really excited to find it because I don't think that this is something that you would normally see at a thrift store because I haven't seen it anywhere, much less a thrift store. I also got a collection of short stories by Stephen Crane. I have been reading more short stories in general this year than I ever have before, so I decided to pick this one up. I have a homeschool mom friend who really recommends The Red Badge of Courage and says that Stephen Crane's short stories are just as great, so I also found This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger, and this is like perfect brand new condition, so I was excited to find this one. I bet my library does have a copy of this one, so I probably didn't need to purchase it. I haven't read anything by him, but I've heard that he is wonderful, and this is the book of his that I wanted to read the most, so we're gonna give it a try and hopefully I like it. Oh, this is funny, I could have included this. I guess I picked up another Ray Bradbury at some point. This is From the Dust Returned. What a lovely, lovely spider on the cover. There's no information on the back. It's just a little blurb. I hate that. Do you hate that? I hate when it's just like a review from someone that's like, hey, this book is great. And it's like, I want to know what it's about. So I don't know what it's about. Maybe spiders. I also picked up an Agatha Christie Death in the Clouds. This is a Poirot. I have read it. Honestly, it's not my favorite Poirot because there's a crime that takes place on the plane and someone has like drugged his drink and so he fell asleep and he doesn't remember anything. So he spends most of the book just being really frustrated that he fell asleep while he's trying to solve this crime. So it just was not my favorite of his. My husband loves Poirot, so I picked it up because I know that it's one that he's going to want to read at some point. I also found a Barbara Kingsolver. This is A Prodigal Summer. Don't know anything about it, but I just recently read the Poisonwood Bible and was really surprised by how much I liked it. So I decided to pick up another Kingsolver, and hopefully I like this one as much as I liked that one. And lastly, I have a middle grade, Inside Out and Back Again by Thanaha Lai. I'm so bad with foreign names and pronouncing them, so I'm so sorry. I have read this. This is a beautiful free verse novel about a young girl who has immigrated to the United States, I think from Vietnam. Yes, this is after the Vietnam War. And so it was really good, really powerful, and one that I would love for my daughter to read at some point. So I picked that up. And I do have one more book that's not here yet, and it's not thrifted, but I did use birthday money to purchase it. So I'm just going to mention here that I'm getting it because I know some of you will be excited. I did just buy Words of Radiance, and it's on its way here. It should be here in a couple days. So I'm thrilled because I loved Way of Kings. So I have the other books that I've either picked up at thrift stores or from Book Outlet or whatever, but I didn't have Words of Radiance, which is kind of funny that I had books 1, 3, and 4, not book 2. Anyways, that's my book haul. So I would love to hear from you in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, and if you have, which ones that you think I should prioritize. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.